If you already haven't seen, To Be Hero X is a brand new anime series airing right now that's been garnering a lot of interest and hype within the last few weeks. To Be Hero X is a Chinese original donghua series. If you're not familiar, donghua basically is the Chinese version of manga. What's interesting about this is that the anime adaptation is actually a co-production between Chinese and Japanese studios Bilibili and Aniplex. Building on that concept of collaboration, the series is also the product of 3 separate animation studios coming together to make one anime: PB Animation, Studio Lan, and Paper Plane Animation Studio, respectively. The different approaches to animation style is reflected beautifully throughout the series. Not only does the show utilize multiple mediums within the same frame, but it also opts for more visual expressions of emotion to aid within its storytelling. The comparisons I would make are that of the Spider-Verse franchise, or even the more recent Puss in Boots movie, New Wish. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. To Be Hero X also switches animation styles throughout each episode drastically. Characters may be having a conversation in one scene in a 3D CGI animation style. Then when a flashback is being told from a character's point of view, the animation will switch to a 2D thick-lined, almost comic book-like aesthetic. This provides a nice mix-up of visual flair, but helps distinguish the audience that this took place before the events of our main story. The show does this spontaneously throughout the series, as we constantly shift perspective to provide extra context for the characters involved. Now, these are all amazing and unique aspects that come with this series, but it's not what inspired me to make this video. To Be Hero X has one of the most interesting and engaging power systems I've ever seen told within a story. Before we get too deep into that, let's discuss a bit of what the plot of the story is and how they use that to display their complex power system in a seamless way. To Be Hero X follows Linling, who has recently been fired from his hero marketing job. It's so bad that he's even contemplating jumping off the roof of a building. That is, until the famous hero Nice comes by jumping off that very roof, shooting finger guns back at him, before ultimately falling to his demise. Because of his passing resemblance, Linling is quickly recruited by Nice's manager to publicly replace Nice in the role that he plays within hero society. It's then quickly revealed that this is a world where faith and trust can turn people into superheroes. For example, if people overall believe that someone can fly, then that person will gain the ability to fly. On the flip side, heroes lose their powers if people stop believing in them. Because the general public believes Nice to be strong, brave, and trustworthy, once Linling essentially becomes Nice, he is able to take on Nice's powers and abilities, effectively replacing him altogether. This power system might seem simple on paper, but I assure you it is anything but. In the second episode, we get to know Moon, Nice's stand-in girlfriend for the time. They aren't really in a relationship, but by committing to the relationship publicly, they are able to further strengthen their power, fueled by their public reception. Even Moon's abilities are dictated by this reception. Because people see Moon as being loyal and always there to help Nice, her actual power is that she can teleport anywhere in the world as long as it's at Nice's side. She's only able to teleport to Nice because that is the reflection of what the public sees her as. Not as an equal, but as a supporting character to prop Nice up. In the third episode, we are introduced to a hero named Firm Man. He made a name for himself by protecting a girl from being crushed by rocks, by standing firm and holding it up long enough to save her life. Because of this narrative being reinforced over time, he does become incredibly strong and powerful. However, he's only able to stand firm. The show goes as far to make this point as to show how difficult it is for him to use the bathroom when he needs to take a poop. He has to do it at an angle because he can only stand firm. He can't bend down or anything like that. We see an adversary even try to depower Firm Man and free him from this burden by writing and publicizing stories where Form is brought to his knees. At first, this seems very villainous, but it's later revealed that she was trying to ruin his public image in order to free him from the burden that his power has brought onto him. Because the public sees him as being firm and strong, That's the only way that he can exist at all times. Not only is this type of power system unique and fun to explore, but it's also providing the writers with an interesting layer to play with when telling these smaller stories within the episodes. I've always enjoyed the stand power system that is in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, in which each stand ability is essentially an extension of who the individual user is. In this case, it's an extension of how they are perceived in society, and that public perception is also often tied with their greatest weakness or even insecurity. Because the heroes lose their power once the public stops believing in them, I feel as though this also leads itself to some pretty strong commentary on celebrity culture overall. How we put celebrities on such high pedestals, and we essentially give them power by praising and paying attention to them. But the second that they stumble or find themselves among a controversy, the public will turn and attack them in large numbers. But that's just one of the layers that comes along with this power system. Not only is it just interesting, but I really feel like the writers have such an amazing tool to aid them with all their storytelling, because so far each of the episodes have been packed with layers of metaphor and extra meaning beyond what's just happening on screen. And I find that the show is not only using its art style, but its specific power system to get that across in a very effective and impressive way. At the time of this recording, I'm only a few episodes in, and I have a feeling that this power system will only continue to grow and expand in interesting ways. I'm really interested to see where we take the extents of this power system. To Be Hero X has great characters with strong writing, a gripping mystery, and visual flair and spectacle to spare. In a season full of very competitive anime, this series has my attention more than any that I'm watching, and I'm very excited to see where the narrative takes us next. But for now, that's going to bring this conversation to a close. Are you watching To Be Hero X? What do you think of the power system? What do you think of the animation? And is China taking over the anime space? All that and more we find out next time, so stay tuned to Desensitize. As always, my name is Darius, and remember that I love you.